of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome Tom back from a not-so-speedy recovery from back surgery. So,
Thank you very much. I really want to thank everybody for their prayers and thoughts that went out to me, and a long road to recovery, but I'm going to get there, and thank you everybody.
all right. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes of September 3rd, 2024 as written.
Also move.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
I'll abstain.
One abstain. Motion passes. Miscellaneous motions. Moved to authorize direct chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Kyle Borden? Kylie Borden? Oh, I butchered names anyway. So, new hire.
Looks like Gordon.
Borden, new hire, emergency dispatcher 1, sheriff's office, wage classification 35-1, wage 2028, effective 9/5/24.
Also move.
I'll second. Moved by Mead, seconded by Knight. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye, motion passes. I believe that concludes our miscellaneous motions. And we will hear from River City, weekly jail update.
Don't have a new picture, drone photo, but there's a few on the back, as you all can see the progress anyway.
Thank you.
Google Red Steel. There's the schedule.
And you got some concrete poured
We got the concrete poured.
in that upper side.
Looking pretty good there. I mean, as everybody knows, concrete gets hard and cracked, and I'm sure Tom can speak to that himself, but
Nobody feels it either.
few spider cracks along the beams as expected. Most of them actually are on the north side of it where the flooring will be, so hopefully minimal are visible, but as expected there are some cracking. There's little cracking up there. But got the concrete poured as a big checklist off that morning, or took a little longer than expected, but got it done with minimal interruption to the school, I believe. Hopefully no interruption, but we were invading on them a little bit, but got that going. The roofers are going to be here they're going to load the jail side roof Friday, going to start the roof next week. Got the air barrier guys coming down tomorrow. They're going to spray the mock-up. We're going to get some brick on the mock-up this week and potentially get brick started next week if all goes well on the mock-up. Starting on the east side closest to the sheriff's office, and then working our way to the north. The air barrier guys will be here tomorrow, and they're going to hit as much as they can. They're going to spray the south side so we can follow the brick up down there. The framers are working around that west side. Hopefully, they should have it framed out and sheeted by the end of next week, so all visibility is going to be pretty minimal after next week, but good progress. With the concrete, we're going to have them, they're going to the steel guys will get up there and put the bridging in between the joists. As long as our brake is good, we got an extra cylinder to test today, and once we get that, we'll know if we can get their equipment up there, and then we'll start slapping that deck down on that roof and be closed in, hopefully in the not so distant future.
Great.
In time for winter.
Just in time for winter. Turn that heat on. Let them go.
They're not talking any moisture for 10 days, so.
Really, that's good but bad. The masons are starting interior walls. They're going to start with the face of all the pods will be the first interior walls in that area they're doing. So those will be going up this week, or starting this week. They're gonna actually start on, I believe they're also gonna start on one of the angled walls in the pods that do not have in the dorm style pods as well, so it's gonna start taking shape pretty quickly.
Yeah, really be able to tell where everything goes in,
Yes.
won't you?
And then after that, we're, cutting off access. Basically, we'll have the access from the entrance on that east side where the cells are going in, and then we'll have a little bit of access from the west side through a window and those small doors. But after that, they're gonna work their way out through the little bit of block in the sheriff's department, and we'll pretty well have block wrapped up, be mainly on brick.
It looks like a pretty small area for those pods.
They're 12 by 16, I think is the biggest one, or 14 by 16, I think
I don't know if
so.
it might be a little bigger.
And they'll be, or
That's
16 tall, they'll be stacking them. They'll put them on the roller skates and roll them in.
It doesn't look like a very big area to put that many pods in there.
Hopefully they got right.
They measured out, right?
Somebody's gonna be in serious trouble.
It should be, we left that opening big enough, they went control joint to control joint on the brick, so it doesn't look like a patch coming back. So it looks,
So we think it's right?
right. No, it should be right, like I said, unless somebody didn't follow instructions. But, all been going well.
They bring those inmates in a bus loader and passenger load, whatever it is. I would have thought that they'd been bringing them in closer to where those pods are.
Well, the booking and intake comes in right there on the backside, just the secure corridors. But, yeah, it is a little
It's all, they gotta bring them all.
bit of a maze, but,
They gotta bring them all the way across.
yeah, about, halfway across the building. Either way, but, it's taking shape. Looks like a maze, but you can see it all coming together now.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
Do have a pay app, or, we'll have a pay app for you probably next week. Pretty good one. I think it's, before retention, about 1.3, I think, is where we're standing.
It's 1.3 in there.
Yep, that's right.
It shows.
That's what it'll be,
That'd be the biggest one we've had so far.
yes. And I think
Almost 1.4.
there is some stored material. Pauly Jail's got a lot of their stored material. I'll go through it with Wade and Sheriff like we do every month, but, starting to see some stored material more, but the progress is, I think, pretty speaks for itself, in my opinion, but
Yeah.
Going well.
we've been, again, we hit it, tell them guys every month, we appreciate what they do, and they're making us,
They're getting it done.
they're looking good and making us look good, as they should. It's what we expect.
Well,
Like we're on target. Plus.
Yeah, little plus,
Yeah.
roofers start a little early, the bricks potentially start a little early, and that's what we shoot for. Try to beat that weather.
Yeah. Great.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Amelia, what do we got? Coffee County Health Department renovation. Come on in.
Morning.
How are ya?
Pretty good.
Pretty well. You have a recommendation letter from BG Consultants for a contingency. So post a pre-construction meeting from a couple weeks ago, BG Consultants did recommend that we have a 10% contingency for our renovation. So this is just to cover costs for unforeseen obstacles that may occur during demolition and change orders. They said that typically 10% is what they recommend to facilities during renovation. I do have the 10%, so 38.9 available in Health Department fund, if that helps any. And I guess I'm here to see if you guys are okay with that, to have that available for in case they come across something that,
My first question would be, I guess I'm a little concerned why they're bringing us after the fact and instead of announcing something about it prior to. That kinda got me worried that they might have missed something
Yeah.
and they're looking at $38,000 difference.
No, at the meeting, there wasn't a contingency,
Right.
and so I just brought,
Okay,
I asked if there should be a contingency, and that's why it was brought to now, Janice.
okay,
There hadn't been one,
Okay.
there hadn't been one prior to that.
okay.
so during the bid process, they did have that in the bids, but they didn't have it in the contract for, once the bids were awarded.
Okay.
The contractor, Vote Construction.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ease your mind that there's nothing there that suggests a screw up.
There was no trigger for this.
There was no trigger for that other than,
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, the purpose is just to be able to have the funds available, so if something happens on a Tuesday, they don't have to
Wait till Monday.
wait, a full week before they can continue on.
That 38.9 though is coming out of the 389, isn't it?
No.
It's additional.
It's on top of the 389?
Mm-hmm. The 389 is what it is going to currently cost for, the renovation. So this is just additional in case something were to happen that's outside of what the budget.
We had another bid at 390 something.
We still have
That puts
10%.
this put that,
They'd still be asking for that 10% contingency on
so
top
we
of
don't
that.
know whether they've asked for it or not.
Yeah. There, you know, a project like that, I can see where there'd be some, I mean, you can walk through it
Like
5,
Jesse,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and go, oh, I missed, you know.
No different than what we're doing with the
It's
jail.
no different than what we're doing with the jail,
Yeah.
and it wasn't included, nothing had been said on the day of the pre-construction, and so that's why it was brought up.
I mentioned that to Jesse here about 2 weeks ago. The last change order, or maybe the one before, the company had missed a $15,000 or $20,000 item. To me, that's not a change order, and it doesn't, we shouldn't have honored a change order, in my mind.
And I remember when you brought that up, and I can't remember what it
The
was.
next time something like that comes up, I'm gonna go against it. Because those companies have the responsibilities of seeing everything that's in. I don't go along with this, if this is on top of 389. Because that's what we accepted a bid of 389.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, but I don't go along with something like this being added to the tail end. It's not, absolutely not right.
We are on a project in Humboldt, Kansas, Don, it's a simple,
I know
it's a simple walking trail. One would think the engineers have missed things where we have had now a total of, it's a $1.1 million project. We've had a total of $45,000 in change orders due to engineering's missing things.
And to me, that's, I don't know what that is, you know, what the normal thing is in all the contracts you get involved in, and I know you're in a lot of them, but to me, that's their problem. They need to accept it, move on.
Well,
It should not require a change order.
the owner's paying for it, $45,000, so.
Next time it
And
comes
then
up
the
here,
engineer
I'm
made the
gonna,
mistake, not us.
yeah,
So,
that's right.
just to let you know.
That was, you know, that was a company problem, because they missed it, and I forget the dollar amount, 20 or, might have been 30 or 40.
The engineer lays out the scope of work for the contractor, if I remember correctly.
Sorry, what's that?
The engineer laid out the scope of work basically for the contractor, inspections are done, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not always a contractor.
So am I correct? This money's not spent yet by
No,
us
it's
doing
not.
this. This is in
No.
case
This is
something
not-
comes
This
up.
is in case
Correct.
of a malfunction.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's because the bidder missed something,
Well,
So I
that would
think
be,
some of the concern
I'm
is
gonna have
coming-
trouble signing on to
Yeah.
it, because they should be able to pick that all up, and it's not our fault they missed it.
BG's the engineering firm and if it was something that was missed, it would be BG's, place to say, you know, we had this in there, they missed it. If that's the case, then it goes back to Boats Construction, or it goes upon BG Consultants.
Maybe,
I mean,
it goes back to both of them.
yeah. If the bidder missed it, then the bidder missed it.
Mhm.
You know, that's one thing, they can pay for that mistake. But, I don't have a problem with the contingency. It's the same as we did with the
With the jail.
with the jail,
Yeah.
you know, so.
It's just like on the Sally
It's a
Port,
savings,
it's just like on the Sally Port when it was
too small.
too small and we had to redo it.
If they're breaking through the concrete flooring, if they find something like the outlay is not what was on the blueprint. I mean,
Yeah,
all the
right,
places.
right.
Multitude of things can happen.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it.
Neither do I.
And then you spoke with,
Make a motion to call you out. I'll
you,
start.
you spoke with, the superintendent, the guy that's going to get, and they got their,
They're gonna have a dump truck to, instead of using a roll-off
right,
dumpster.
right.
Is that what you're?
Yes,
gonna-
that's what I
Okay,
was-
yeah.
yes.
So we won't have to take up any, parking spaces or any,
It'll be a mobile unit, we talked
Yeah.
about,
they'll just make trips to the landfill instead of
Mhm.
taking up space on ground.
They're still gonna have to have a parking space to park it there
Mhm.
while they're filling it up.
Yeah.
So. All right. She's got a motion.
I do appreciate you bringing that up, but once again, this BG is the one that should have brought it. Saban's the one that should have brought it to us.
That's,
Saban's,
it's not Sabian, that's, Bruce built, Bruce,
Grant or Bruce,
Bruce.
yeah.
okay. To me, they're the ones that should have brought this issue to us. And not you.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to come bring it to us.
I don't know if I can speak for them, but.
All right, Angie has a motion in here, a motion to allocate a contingency fund allowance for the Coffee County Health Department renovation in the amount of $38,900 to come from Health Department Fund, community line item, commodities, sorry.
So move.
I'll second.
Moved by Hugutin, seconded by McCurry, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed?
And once again, I just don't, I've already said
Motion passes.
reason behind my thought.
Understand, thank you. And then, something came up towards the end of the week last week. I would like to, request an executive session to discuss matters related to non-elected, personnel to discuss job performance and review.
How long?
20 minutes to include all the commissioners and myself.
Yes, commissioners, yourself? Oh, come on.
Have you got that written down, Angie?
I'm working on it. Yes.
Also move.
Second that.
Moved by Meach, seconded by Thompson, 20-minute executive session, Health Department Administrator, and all the commission. All in favor say aye. Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at, we better give it 9:22. That give you enough time?
Yeah,
9:22?
I do pretty good.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at 9:22 for 20 minutes. I got your chair. We got time for you.
Can we go back in, I guess, right after that?
Yeah, it's all right. We walk fast.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Okay, so just a little recap.
Yeah, quick recap.
Okay, so I received a, resignation letter from one of the health department employees. It's okay if I use his name?
I don't think you can use the name, can you, Wayne?
I wouldn't, although it'll, people will figure it out.
Okay, So I received a resignation from one of my employees down in the health department to transfer to another department within the county. I would like to go ahead and make it effective as of today for the resignation from the health department and to transfer out.
Okay, no motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the letter of resignation / transfer out of the health department to another department within the county.
And with the vacation and sick leave to be the responsibility of the receiving department.
Vacation and sick leave to be, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Responsible for the,
Should be
the responsibility of the receiving department. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Of the receiving department. So we can all read it.
Need my glasses? I got my.
I got my glasses.
My focus on that. Alright, motion reads, motion to accept letter of resignation / transfer out of the health department to another department within the county, and the vacation and sick leave to be the responsibility of the receiving department.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved by Hugan, seconded by Colton. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
All right.
Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Economic Department, Rhonda,
Hello.
you're up.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. How are you doing? Thanks for waiting for us.
Oh, no problem. I'd like to, talk about, what's it worded?
Executive session
Yeah.
to
For
discuss
personnel.
non-elected personnel,
Matters.
job performance.
It would likely be, evaluation and, discussion regarding economic development interim status. Is that a fair way of saying that?
Okay, here's the motion. Motion to enter executive session for how long?
20 minutes,
20 minutes? 20 minutes?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. We'll go 15, 'cause that's what I had set for.
Okay.
15 minutes to include each of the commissioners and economic development office coordinator Ron Truelove to discuss personnel matters, non-elected personnel regarding evaluation and discussion regarding economic development intern status. And the Kansas Open Act, Meetings Act, KSA 75-4, 3919B1.
I'll move.
I'll second. Moved by McCurry, seconded by Knight. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll just make it 9:50 for 15 minutes. Getting your walk in then, Tom.
Yeah.
I'll make an amendment to the last motion that was previously passed to include County Councilor Wade Bowie and each of the commissioners
And Rhonda.
and Rhonda. Make that motion.
I'll second that.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Knight. Any discussion?
Same time?
No, we're gonna have to move it up. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. We'll enter at 9:51 for 20 minutes. 15 minutes.
Do I have to put both motions, or do I just modify the last, because we're modifying?
I just modified.
I think they just amended the last motion.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's not probably the cleanest, but at least it's recorded and
Yeah.
Put it on me. 9:51.
Well, you just wait, they've been complaining how hot it's been all summer, now they're gonna start complaining how cold it's been all winter.
Of course, and that, don't we always do that?
And this summer was
I understand,
Mr. Jackson, sir, how are you?
I'm sensational.
Good. That's pretty good, you know what?
That resolution, when you talk about that.
Slept good last night, finished the pool, exercised twice a day, worked on the garden a little bit. And then time here to see everybody's wonderful face.
Not about anybody here in Chinese.
Well, they said it was open to the public, I thought.
You are public.
I'm public,
Nice to see you.
yeah.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I heard you've been down and out in Beverly Hills.
Been down and out with no Beverly Hills.
In fact, I was gonna get the address of where you were staying in Topeka and go see you Wednesday, but since you're here, I got the one.
Escaped. I made them let me out early.
Early parole.
Yeah, I did.
All right,
Nice to see you.
we're back. I guess,
Oh, I didn't give you that, did I?
oh, it's all right, we got them on the computer.
I do have
You got what?
the CSA compensation.
Okay. Fire away. Oh, motion,
Okay, got me right now.
it's for, motion for, appointing Rhonda Truelove as, interim economic development coordinator, effective September 1st, 2024, until position is filled with an economic development director with a stipend.
Effective,
September 1st.
so we say the stipend of how much?
$1,000 a month. There's a lot on the plate.
Does that look okay?
I don't know, about $1,000.
You wouldn't say a month or not?
Oh, yeah.
Looks good to me. Motion to approve CP2 appointing Rhonda Truelove as interim economic development director effective September 1st, 2024, with a stipend of $1,000 per month until an economic development director is hired.
I'll move.
I'll second. Moved by Thompson, seconded by Huguet. Any discussion?
I have a question.
All in favor say aye.
Okay, whatever.
Aye. Motion passes, sorry.
Now I have a question.
Are
What
you
happened
done?
to our last economic director? Wasn't it Robert
Mhm.
Skipper?
He left and went to work for SSM.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Thanks.
Okay. There's Tom's signature. Now we're on to Richard. Sir, you're up. Personnel matters, non-elected personnel.
We have executive session
Okay.
for, how many people can I talk about in one of these? The same position, two different folks. One out, one in potentially. It's one position.
So.
Is it two of them or one?
I mean, sounds like you're gonna be sort of crossing over, it's one
Per?
executive session per person, but
Okay.
it sounds like they crossover, so I don't know if there's a way you don't talk about the other person. Try one and see what.
Okay.
10 minutes?
Well, one is easy, we could do 5 minutes in the bathroom, I don't, 3 minutes.
I can leave.
So 5 minutes,
Sure.
you think, for that one? So maybe stay here instead of,
Instead of traipsing downstairs with Tom. I mean, Tom needs exercise.
And the next one is probably only another 5 minutes, so.
I think for 5 minutes, there's probably value in staying here. It'll take longer to go downstairs and it'll probably take the whole session. So, your non-elected personnel, your basis is evaluation, job performance,
Yes.
disciplinary. I mean, you just have to pick one for it to be illegal.
I guess disciplinary action, let's go that route first.
Okay.
Okay. You can do that in 5 minutes, you think, Richard?
Sure.
Okay.
We don't have to walk anywhere. It's basically ask you guys some questions.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to enter into executive session for 5 minutes, to include each of the commissioners, county treasurer Richard, and Wade Bowie. Discuss personnel matters, non-elected personnel regarding disciplinary action under the Kansas Meeting Act, KSA 75-4319B1, to happen in the commission chamber. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, no, sorry, we need to move.
I'll move.
I'll say it.
Moved by Meeks, seconded by McCray. I'm slamming this thing to the front.
We get in a hurry here.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at 10:17 for 5 minutes. That's 10:17, and I'm going. For short term. Just in time to write another.
Yeah.
Copy paste, is it? Fabulous.
So, no action taken on the last executive session with, treasurer. Next. We're on a 10-minute.
How do we,
For 5
do
minutes.
I need one for retirement?
I
Or
don't
does
think
it?
so. It is
I
what it is.
don't know if she's put anything out there or not, but anyway. Okay, so maybe I don't need another executive session.
You got somebody in your office.
Somebody's leaving, so that's the whole idea of why this is happening. And due to health of family, so partly she's, been here a while.
So
You haven't got a letter of
Anyway.
resignation yet?
Nothing official, but she says I'm done, coming up soon.
Well, that's something you just cross the bridge when it comes, will it?
Yeah.
So you have an employee who has made you aware that they plan on resigning at some point in the very near future.
2 months, yeah.
In the next 2 months. So at some point in time, you're gonna have to fill that void,
Which is what
the process of filling that void.
the other's for.
I always say if somebody wants to announce their retirement, do it in an open
Mm-hmm.
session, that they can do so, but that's their business.
Yes. Right. And,
Very well.
alrighty.
Like to see people be able to retire.
Yeah.
I just hope one of these days I get to.
Yes. Okay, so I do have some other statements, since there were statements made about me last week when I wasn't here, that I would like to straighten out. So thanks for seeing me today. we'll just start with Walker. You guys gave Walker permission to use a checkbook, the county checkbook, to write checks for all the SSM money. That's not a compensated position. That was just, hey, here you go. Which, according to Joe, is pretty standard issue amongst the business world. But with talking to Emily and Walker both, he did not want that. And Emily said there's no way, because the way things are done, which we'll get to in a minute, the way the financing is, it needs to be on the county's books so that there is a trackable thing, as opposed to having $3 million in the bank, all of a sudden it's gone. Where did it go? If Walker's writing checks, then that's all that was happening. Auditor does not like that, which I don't blame her. Because he could be writing checks about anything. I doubt Walker would, which is part of the reason why I said, yeah, I'm not down with my name being tied to this. You take care of it. Never was that a compensated position. So, the other piece is the auditing side. Walker was never on the auditing team. The auditing team was me. That's where Bobby said, hey, let's have Richard do it. And then we get back to the compensation on it, that again, I never knew about until I saw the closing statements that said Coffee County on it. Why does it say Coffee County? Well, for the same reason that, let's suppose Wade's working for Kutak and Rock, and he's doing the auditing work for, hey Tiny, it's open. And so Wade is working for Kutak and Rock, and he's doing the auditing. So who are the bond people going to put on the bond documents? It's okay now.
Okay.
Who are the bond people going to put on the documents for closing? They're not going to put Wade's name. They're going to put Kutak and Rock. Same way if Steve is working for Security Bank, they're going to write Security Bank on there. Because that's where their pay comes from. And then that's when you ask Joe, well, is this what really happens? And Joe says, yeah, $200 to $300 an hour. So the money goes to the business, and then it's paid out in that respect. But this isn't a business, and it was never our money. So in that case, those closing bond fees go to the business to pay out to their people. But it was never the county's bond, because it was supposed to be paid to me. But anyway, that's beside the point. I don't even care about the money at this point, because I was going to do it before there was any pay there. But when you hear about compensation, sure, sign me up. Since I'm doing it and there's compensation there, give it to me. It was never the county's money. If this were Coffee County's money, we could go up and say, you know what, SSM, we don't want you to have this. Our budget is in such bad shape, we're going to lower it by $3.5 million by using this money. Is that going to work? If it's the county's money, we can. Walker's not going to be happy with you if you take his money. That $3.5 million is Citizens State Bank that they gave as a bond, and they're giving out to them. The only thing we're doing is running it through to keep track of it. We're basically a bank, and we're keeping track of the checks. That's all my job is the treasurer. That's not the auditing side. Auditing is a completely different position. That's the one that's compensated. And so there are a lot of different things going on out there that people are saying, well, I hear you're taking money from the county. How many hours have I put into this county that have not been compensated? I'm the first one here of most of the county employees in this building. I'm usually one of the last ones to leave. Wade sometimes beats me on that. Do I get extra pay for that? No. I'm taking care of county stuff. Whether it's opening up the office or finishing up with some of the bond stuff that's going to be coming on later for the jail project or whatever. Tax sale, speaking of which, tax sale is not even mine. But I do it. State statute 792801 says that is issued by you guys and fulfilled with his office. It does not say the treasurer does anything. So that's 50-ish hours. I don't know, it might be more than that. I spent 3 hours this weekend running around taking pictures of properties. Do I submit a bill for those hours? No, it's not my job, but it is county money. I am not taking county money away from tax-paying citizens. That's not my intention. My office, how many hours I put in that? Susan and I put in over 200 hours of our time. I was here till 3 o'clock in the morning several times working on carpet. What bill did you get from me for that? You didn't. It's county money, and it was my office, and I wanted it done correctly. So I did the work and saved the county $10,000 on that one. I'm not here to take county money. I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize my position. My integrity is still in place. Never has anything like that happened. The bond money that's down there that we keep saying, oh, it's county money, it's paid by a CID. The CID is directly tied to the bonds. This year it's $329,000 that they're going to have to pay. We get none of that. That goes straight to paying the bonds. That's an agreement between a banker and loaner. We are just an in-between bank that's supposed to be taking care of those funds. We issue it out, we're backing, but we have nothing to do with that money. Zero. Then there's the other hours where you say I'm padding the bill. I told you in the beginning, I had 25 hours put in on the line of credit. Line of credit's been done for 6 months, and there's more work that's been done after that. I submitted hours for the line of credit like you told me to do after you said, we're not going to pay you that. Oh, yeah, we talked to Joe. We will pay you for this. So I submitted those hours, plus the extra hours I've been working on now the bond issue. And then that gets thrown in my face that I'm trying to milk the county for more money. I'm not. I've got hours in on this. Hours that is not on the county dime. Yes, I'm working during county hours because that's when everybody meets. My job, though, is to take care of the county books, and I do that, whether it's early in the morning or later in the evening. So just because I'm meeting while everybody else is in office, I'm not going to say, hey, wait a minute, guys, we can't do any audit work until after 5. Yeah, that's not going to fly. So that's where the extra hours came from, and even since then, I've got another 6 hours that I've done, working on different things. I'm not here to profit off the county. That was never my intention, and that's never what I'm talking about. So, all the hours I've thrown in, over 300 between Susan and I extra, between a couple tax sales and my office, never once did I submit a bill for that. I asked for some mileage to go get some carpet and trim. Ooh, that was exciting. You guys paid the appropriate mileage. Thank you. Other than that, I have not asked for any money. But this is about my integrity. It was questioned online. I've had people call me and say, hey, what is going on here? The guy I know would not do this. I said, no, here's how it works. A bond is issued. Yes, it's even going to get paid for by a credit, a portion of, in year 2. But it's still going to have CID attached to it. It's still going to have to be paid by those guys to citizens. Those are the 2 people involved in this. It's not us. So the other piece along with this is there's $20,000 billed to this company that Bobby brought in. Why are they having to pay his pay when it's his job to go bring in corporations or companies into the county? If I was a company, why would I want to come here if you're going to charge me the economic development guy's salary? I wouldn't come. I mean, that's $20,000. Again, I don't care about the money, but it's not Coffee County's money. So if you're not giving it to me, you need to write a check back to SSM. It's their funds. Let them spend it on building their nice building and getting it ready to go so that the county can profit from it.
So the 20,000 that,
19,500,
Bobby
whatever it was.
Skipper's part of this, where did that money go?
General fund.
I just wanted to understand that, because that's,
I mean, we
part
charge
of the
them,
rumor
the
mill.
part of the closing expenses were whoever, I don't remember the name on there, that did the engineering work, but that was close to $100,000. And then there was almost 20,000 thrown on to make a nice round number of 120 or 125 or whatever that value was.
But
But that all went back into general fund.
these funds, this is just one part of, what, 5 different funds, is that
Mhm.
right? And so this part of it will be done shortly, I mean, it'll be liquidated shortly, is that right?
Yeah, probably a few months. I mean, it depends on what piece is going on when. Yeah, we have 3 million left.
Okay.
What do you mean by being liquidated?
Spending
Well,
on the building, on the furniture, on whatever
Whatever,
else,
there's
payroll.
I think there's 5 different, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah, there's Magnolia Bank,
the
Red Leg Loan
Right.
through Lion Coffee, the bonds, there's a state grant,
Right.
and I think there's an
And so
SBA loan.
each one of them, and your part of it is, is to, this is on the bond side,
Mhm.
yes. And Richard, I don't question your integrity. My thought was that this was just part of the job. Pure and simple, I mean, that was just part of your job, to take care of this type of thing.
I'm capable of doing this, but it has nothing to do with the treasurer's job.
I know that. But that's what you do best,
Mhm.
yes.
And that's why people ask me to do things. That's
And
why
that-
I'm on the insurance committee, because I've got years of insurance coverage.
And that's why when Walker was uncomfortable with that position.
No, he didn't want, that was never his position.
Right, and so when it was brought to us, and.
It was never asked him.
Do I?
The auditing side was never asked of him. We were
Right.
sitting here in a meeting, and they said, I think it was Joe, someone needs to be auditing these to make sure that the funds are being spent correctly. And Bobby said, Richard should do it. He's good with numbers, and he's here.
And then the other thing, the other part of it was Walker couldn't write the checks. Richard, it had to come from Richard Pearl, I mean.
But it's two different things.
That's two different
Oh,
topics.
okay, I'm sorry.
The checks.
The checks is a treasurer job.
Right.
Because that needs to run through the books.
Right,
The auditor said, no, you're not just gonna let somebody else write $3.5 million and then we don't know what it went for.
no, and that's correct.
Because technically, the county's neck is on the
I'm
line,
sorry,
we're not on the
that was two
line.
different issues, no, I know.
We're backing it, but we're only backing it as far as Magnolia Bank is paying the thing.
Sure.
So there's no risk to the county.
Right.
Right,
Because I talked to them, because I wanted the county to be on the building. In hindsight, that's a terrible idea, because if we own the building, then we can't be generating that $300,000
Right.
a year that's gonna be paying the CID. So that was a terrible idea. Which Magnolia Bank said, no, we want it. I'm like, great. You write the check for $300,000 a year, I still have the building and the content. So we have a $3.5 million loan that they're paying, or bond that they're paying, and we have first right of whatever on the guts inside there. Well, actually Walker does, but.
Well,
What else? Like I said, I don't care about the money. I would love to be paid for it because it's time. But, and the only reason I had to submit a check here was because I was told, yeah, you're gonna get paid for this. So I sent the money here. Money is now in our general fund. So I submitted a bill to you, and you said no. Twice. Said yes one time in the middle. And so, had I known that there was no funds gonna be paid out, I would have never requested them, and I'd have left them at their bank for them to spend, because the county doesn't do anything on this. They have no claim to that funding. There is no overhead.
Other than it's our credit.
Sort of.
It's still our accountability. Because if it doesn't get paid back, who's solely responsible for it?
Walker's the one that's gonna be on the hook, but,
You know they're gonna go to the bigger pot.
and Magnolia Bank's the one paying it, so.
I
So anyway, like I said, I don't care about the money, other than if we're not keeping it, why are we taking $50,000 away from these people that they could be using to build a business? Send it back to them.
I like your suggestion of doing that, and I guess I would, say, I just assumed every piece of the puzzle, if you will, was falling in the right hands in the right places. I had no idea it was, quite like this.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people who have called and said, do you know what they're saying about you? Have you heard what's going on around the street? I said, I don't see you doing that. When I tell them what I said, and they said, that's what I saw over the course of several meetings.
Well,
I haven't been here, so.
We all know you can't stop what people say out on the street, that's for
Nope.
sure. All
Can't.
you can do is try to set the record straight.
Yeah, I
People
never
hear what they
questioned,
That's
want.
hard to do.
I never questioned
Yeah.
your actions.
I think you do a wonderful job. You're a very thorough individual. I respect you. I know you have the integrity you say you have. So I would say whatever you suggest, we will do. I mean, if it's give the money back to the bank so that SSM can use it to build their project, then that's what we ought to do. I don't know who else could fulfill that part that you're doing now. I mean,
Well, I'm gonna do it regardless, because I said I would. I didn't think I was getting paid the first time, and I still took it on.
and
So I'm gonna keep doing it.
say, well, we'll proceed. If you think the money needs to go back into the account for SSM to use, let's just do that.
Or if it needs to go into the treasurer's fund to help offset other time that people are putting in to reimburse the county back for stuff they're doing off county, that would be another thing. Put it in a pizza fund, I don't care. But in a government sector, I have an issue, it's different in a private sector.
Yeah.
In a government sector, I see bad things coming if an individual is paid on top of their salary for something that they are hired to do by the county.
True.
So people need to understand private sector and government.
Having
can
all the
get a-
time with,
You can get by with
Some
things
other
like that in
attorneys
the
here.
private sector. But in the government sector,
yeah, and I thought I was doing it for free anyway, so I say send it back to them.
Well, I think
I think even in the private sector, it's an issue, just like I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, you take that in the private sector, you won't have a job next
well,
day.
I don't agree, but, I think you were doing this above and beyond your job, is my opinion. I don't agree with Don on that, so.
You don't
this
agree,
was-
he should be fired, he's hired by the board of directors.
That this is something above and beyond his job, is auditing outside of the county scope, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
well, yeah.
There's nothing unethical about it. That's
And I
how we
know-
want to handle it. That's another thing.
And I know I made a little comment, I apologize if there's any issues with it, Richard, but, because I've never heard anything bad about what you do.
Thank you.
Performances,
I'm sorry for my outburst last week. I said something that,
performance has
shouldn't
been
be out
good.
loud.
The ladies I talked to has been good.
A little part of this, in my mind, is that what maybe caused everybody getting a little upset is the check for the whole thing was presented, and that was probably the way to do it. I'm not arguing with that, but, the check came in, and some of it was for work that hasn't been completed yet, in my mind.
yeah, like I said, just give it all to them. I was doing it for free anyway.
Yeah, but
And it was in the best hands, your hands. I mean, that's the whole thing, Richard.
yeah.
It was being
Yeah.
handled correctly.
And yet there are people out there saying that I'm trying to take advantage of something, so
Well, and I,
We got
Thank
some
you.
time to think about this,
I'm
where
done.
that money should
That's
go.
all I have, yeah.
yeah, I'd like to give this a thought.
Did that. Yep.
So you have my utmost respect, so,
That's mine.
and
And for timeliness, last thing on this, it's no longer going through payables. We worked out where it is a non-check disbursement. It's still within the budgetary system. But now I don't have to have somebody call you guys up and say, hey, I need a stamp because they need their money today.
As far as the bond money, you mean?
Mhm.
Okay.
No, that can be as clean as possible right there,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of documentation going with it, and, yeah. And Tanya won't let me do anything bad, so.
Too many eyes. Too many eyes.
There's a good group of girls in there, I know that.
Yeah, somebody tipped him $100 earlier. He's coming back tomorrow to get his money.
No, he ain't getting
No, we're not, you can't keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, back to your public entity, you can't tip the staff here.
Bribery.
Yeah, he did get scolded. But anyway,
Well, thank you, Richard, and like I say, I didn't mean anything ill towards it, it was, in my eyes, a bad situation in the government sector. That's where I went with it, so. And
it's all right.
I gave every opportunity to pull back.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you
Appreciate
do,
it.
Richard.
Yep.
Is Joe Serrano coming in?
Be by Zoom, both he and Craig Fahrenberg. I've got the countdown clock.
You'll get right at 11.
Be right at 11.
You got something?
Tiny, you got something for us today?
You guys doing a great job.
Thank you. Could you say that louder one more time? Never mind.
It's a tough job, and the very best people in the county are in the right chairs. How's that?
Well,
Thank
don't
you,
know
sir.
about that, but we try, I believe.
Question that.
It's the same, it's the same thing. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a
One
time.
bite at a time. You have to handle each issue. Each issue separately.
Yes, sir.
On, we've got an appreciation.
Yeah, appreciation, employee appreciation lunch today at 11:30, noon o'clock, something like that. Well, Tiny, we'll look forward to your words of wisdom every Monday at 10:47.
So I'll try to make it here earlier because I do water aerobics,
Oh,
with the mermaids
Right.
at 8:30 in the morning.
not a bad situation, you don't wanna miss that.
I'll be joining you for too long.
Okay. 4 years ago, I was in the pool, and I used to, and I said this to lots of people. I said, "Yeah, you need to come to water aerobics. I'm the only male in there, and I'm the youngest one at 70." So there's some good-looking mermaids in there.
Yup. Where's that at, down at the rec center?
So part of me is coming to your meetings. That the mermaids, I can talk about what actually happens at government level here to those mermaids, and they'll spread the good word out, because those girls will spread whatever rumor goes on. It normally goes to the swimming pool. So when I start saying I'm coming to the county commissioners meeting, they'll be asking me, and I'll say, I'll give them the skinny, the flip,
All right.
what actually happens in a meeting instead of what somebody else conjures up somewhere else.
People hear what they wanna hear, most times.
That is true.
Well, we appreciate, we welcome you here.
Are you done for today?
No, we've got an 11 o'clock, Zoom meeting with, bond council, and then, we've got 11:30, we're supposed to go down to the, 4-H building for an employee appreciation lunch. So, serve lunch to all the employees of the county.
Okay, well,
So will we be coming back?
No, we won't be
I
coming
don't
back.
think there was anything else.
We'll probably skip roundtable today unless Wade's got some real pressing stuff. Or
No, I can fill
we can fill
a little
5,
bit
10 minutes.
of time until they get here.
Okay.
I've got Zoom up on this computer waiting for them to join, so. This will probably have to include Don, because Don, I guess it impacts and affects him. So, Don is the appointed individual who is a county representative on the 4th Judicial District Community Corrections Advisory Board. And that is different than the 4th Judicial District Nominating Commission. They're two different things. Sometimes they get used interchangeably, but they're not. The 4th Judicial District Community Corrections Advisory Board is a group of stakeholders who meet sometimes once a month, sometimes once every other month, but they go over the budget for juvenile offenses and community corrections. That money is distributed by Kansas Department of Corrections. The governing body who oversees that funding and who approves it is in Franklin County, but you have to have a judge, you have to have a prosecutor, you have to have law enforcement, you have to have on this board members of different communities, which include Coffee, Osage, Franklin, and Anderson County. So Don is the representative locally from Coffee County, and I am actually the prosecutor who's been appointed by all the other prosecutors who's a part of that board as well. I'm the chairman right now.
Also chairman, yeah.
And in doing so, one of the things that needs to be done is an influx and ingoing and outgoing of members. Don made a comment, and correct me if I'm wrong, at our last meeting, we get knee-deep into the weeds at times about what is best for moving forward in the utilization of those funds and how can it better those who end up either on probation or on the juvenile side, what programs can be put in place, creatively speaking, how to deal with and address recidivism and different ways to make the process better. We have members from mental health. We have someone from domestic violence advocate. We have someone who's a builder but was a recovering addict. I mean, all walks of life. Don made a comment, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, after our last meeting, that he didn't feel like he was bringing anything to the table that's substantive and is within the core areas in which the board is making recommendations. And we brainstormed, he brought it up afterwards, brainstormed with Dustin Browning, who's the director of community corrections, and sort of oversees everything. And for a Coffee County member, there is someone who, after we sat and discussed, would probably be a better fit for that board than to have either Don or even an active member of this board, because it needs to be someone local, but I look at it as a multidisciplinary team from all walks of life. So there was a recommendation made by Don that maybe, and this is seed planting right now, no action needs to be taken, that Don step down, and then we have someone within the building who I think would be a good fit, Don thinks would be a good fit, that would fill a gap that's not on that board right now. Is that a good way of saying that, Don?
Yeah, I think so. Wade, I mean, I've been on it for a long time, and, you know, they get into different types of subjects, I shouldn't say issues, but different types of subjects that someone like me or somebody like on the board has really not a good idea of what they're even referring to most of the time. And I don't think we're fulfilling the obligation that board member should be doing.
Okay.
there's, there's 3 or 4 ladies on there that are there most of the time that can bring a lot more to it. And I can't think of the lady that normally sits next to our director, but I don't think there's any question there's people better qualified to fulfill that obligation and responsibilities of the Fourth Judicial Committee.
So internally, the recommendation would be, if she's willing to accept it, would be our health department director. We don't have someone with that type of background that can provide something outside the box that we don't normally see. I mean, we have law enforcement, we have probation, we have mental health, we have superintendent of a school district. And the only reason why it's being brought up here is anybody who is on that board that is going to serve in a capacity as an at-large type role has to be appointed by that county. So Coffee County has to have certain representation, Anderson County the same, Osage County, Franklin County, and some of those positions are already filled already. This would help to fill that position if, Don would have to step down, and then you would have to make a decision if that's how you wanted to fill the position. I'm only planting the seeds because I feel, as the chairman of that board, it's my responsibility to help bring on people that will help make that board better. And I'm doing the same with some recommendations in Anderson County right now as well. And their board, their county commission would have to make that decision to appoint whoever those people are. But it's a very important board. It covers a lot of funding that goes to a specific need, and that need is to address people who are under mainly felony adult supervision, and the tools and resources that those community corrections officers have to help to keep, reduce recidivism, keep people out of prison, and whatever those programs are that they can utilize that money. That flows through this board, as well as a number of other juvenile resources and what can be done to help combat truancy cases and other things, just as an example. So,
Don't they still need a board member on their board from a commission board someplace in the 5 counties?
Possibly.
That's what that was recent.
Yeah.
I was put on.
I bet.
And they still, if that's still the case, someone still needs to serve on the committee. And I don't know whether there's a limited number on that committee or not.
There are core functions that have to be filled to meet the DOC requirements for that board. So Dustin Browning, I've asked him to come down and present to you, so you have a full understanding of what that board does and why it's important that you have people on that board, and that will coincide probably with a meeting that it will occur. Try to have them here in October, maybe November at the latest, but the next meeting is November 17th here in Coffee County, and we alternate counties every other meeting. So just seed planting.
Have you already talked to him, maybe, about that?
I've brought it up, and I think I've done an introduction with she and Dustin so she could understand and ask questions about what time commitment and do decent responsibilities are.
I think we just need to nominate her and let her know later.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness.
She'd be a good candidate.
Well,
Oh, obviously,
She's,
yeah.
she's thoughtful,
If
she's
she's willing,
well-spoken,
yeah, she
she's
has
thoughtful
time.
and well-spoken.
Well, I absolutely know I can't bring haven't been able to, and
So what you're saying is go
can't
ahead
bring the value
and
to the.
make it happen, and
Yeah, just do it.
Well, I can absolutely, I can call Dustin and step down pretty quick.
I'm gonna have to leave, I got a farrier coming to trim horses here, so
Good seeing you.
good seeing you.
I'll
Take
see you
care.
next Monday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
6'5" or 6".
There's that much room on top of it, things like that.
Fought a lot of fires with that man.
Do I?
Fought a lot of fires with that man.
Does he live in Burlington, some of us?
That's out west of town, I think.
Southwest of town and,
10th Road,
Saller's old place across the street from the road.
Okay.
brewer shop out
And his place burnt in Hartford.
Is that where he's from?
Well, I didn't even think about that. Like, when are the bond guys gonna get here?
Technology.
They're still not here.
I've done so many Zoom meetings lately, I don't know why I wasn't thinking that.
Kind of disappointing when it doesn't work though sometimes.
So's Wade. Not that Wade's disappointed, he's just disappointed.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that to get all turned around,
Yeah.
which I'm sure it will.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear?
Every night, say Boo was disappointing. I can read the headlines now.
Isn't the circus going on today?
Tonight, I think tonight.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah. Can't you hear the music playing?
Don't put us down as far as that. Yeah. Guess I forgot the time of it.
I thought it was on Tuesday night.
I've got it marked on the calendar
I gotta
today.
get tickets for my grandkids.
I think it's like 5 and 7:30.
Today, Mark, or
I believe so.
that's it.
I had it marked for today, but I didn't have.
I just didn't have a
Okay.
time.
Seems like a
Rhonda.
Yep. Just one day only.
Wow.
I think there was an Osage last night or yesterday, I think.
So they're probably down there setting up. Probably. You can take a picture.
I'm sure they're in it.
Got a stock picture you can use.
Got sure somebody today, right?
Yeah.
Joe, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Up by your name, it's got an X through the speaker. Joe? No, sir.
Just the lower right.
Greg, can you hear us?
Picture turned all the way up.
I can't hear Greg either.
Looks pretty much turned up.
Yeah.
Look out when it works.
We have no sound.
Is the owl plugged in?
Yeah.
Okay. And his eyes are lit up.
I have no idea why.
There we go. Say
Think
something,
maybe
Joe.
we've got you.
Good morning, Joe.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Good morning,
You
Greg.
got it? Good deal.
Gotta love technology.
Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
Yep, we got everybody on the same page.
Well, first of all, Tom, it's great to see you. How you doing?
Better than I was.
You look great. You look great. And I have with me my partner, Tyler Ellsworth, and our newest associate, who just started last week, Emma Kate Dillon, who will be assisting with the financing. I don't know, Greg, if you want me to take the lead on this, or how would you like to handle it?
Either way is fine.
Okay. I'm going to have to make a little quick primer introduction. So this is related, first of all, for the record, Joe Serrano, Kutek Rock, bond counsel of the county. This is for the second financing related to the jail. We've talked about this a couple different times, but just to reset the history, in 2022, it was voter approved to issue up to $20 million of bonds for approximately a $30 million project. The county was going to come out of pocket, use general funds for the $10 million difference. In 2022, we issued the first series of bonds for $9,745,000 with the good graces of Raymond James. We got a sizable premium on that issuance. So of the $20 million that remains, the balance is $10,255,000 of bond capacity. We were anticipating issuing the full $10,255,000 for the second financing related to the jail. The sale is scheduled to be on October 21st of 2024. And so that's kind of the introduction. And Greg, I don't know if you have any additional information you'd like to share about the plan of finance other than was brought up.
Sure, and good morning, everyone. Appreciate the chance to visit with you, and sorry I couldn't be there in person, but as Joe had mentioned, this would be the second series of bonds to be issued from that voter-authorized $20 million in bonds. When you look back to that Series 22 bond issue, we were able to sell the principal amount of $9,745,000, and then very common in the bond market when we receive bids or conduct a bond sale, current interest rate environment, we're able to generate what's called a reoffering premium. In other words, investors will buy the bonds at a purchase price of slightly above 100% of the face value. We generated $252,176 of premium on that Series 22 sale, and we were able to lock in an interest rate or a true interest cost of 3.67%. So then after the issuance of the Series 22 bonds, we knew we had $10,255,000 in principal amount that was still voter authorized but unissued. And one of the things that Joe and Tyler have done is work pretty closely with Richard is to watch your debt capacity. And in Kansas, the debt limit is set at 3% of the assessed valuation of the county. And as your assessed valuation grows and as you pay down principal on outstanding bonds, that frees up your debt capacity. And so when you look at where we stand today, we have total capacity of $19,240,717. And then when we subtract away the $8,965,000 of principal that is outstanding after you've made two principal payments, then that gives us plenty of capacity to issue the $10,255,000 in bonds. We worked pretty closely with QTAC and Richard and Wade to look at, is there a strategy or a benefit to issuing slightly less than $10 million in the principal amount? That would allow us to designate the bonds as what is called bank qualified, and that's a tax treatment for banks that buy your bonds that in certain market conditions could result in a noticeably better interest rate. If you go back and look at some of the prior years, probably 5 to 10 years ago, that bank qualified designation could be as valuable as 1/4 to 0.5% lower on the interest rate. Right now, it's a very marginal benefit. It's maybe 5 basis points or 0.05%. So we ran some calculations to see, would the county be better off forcing the amount of proceeds less than $10 million on this series, or just pushing ahead and selling the remaining $10,255,000. And after working through that, we felt that it was best just to go ahead and issue the remaining voter authorized bonds, $10,255,000, and we won't know the exact amount of premium until we conduct the bond sales. But the calculations that we have run, that could be as large as $886,000 is what's shown in the financing analysis that we shared with you for the discussion this morning. So that would result in about $10.9 million going into the project fund, and our estimate of the interest rate would be around 3.76%. So we felt that borrowing money at that cost and not tying up the cash position of the county, issuing that $10,255,000 as opposed to pushing the proceeds, both principal and premium, below $10 million, which would tie up or use about $1 million extra of your cash, was better just to go ahead and sell the remaining voter authorized bonds. The other thing that has occurred that is favorable for the county is we've shared some updates along the way since issuing that first series of bonds on what is happening in the bond market and where interest rates are at. We saw what we thought might be a window of opportunity very early this year, but the county wasn't in a position where you needed the funds for construction. The 10-year treasury at that point in time was 3.87%. We watched that 10-year treasury go up to a yield as high as 4.7% around April of this year. And then we watched a strong improvement in interest rates, a rally in the bond market to where that 10-year treasury has come down to around 3.73%. Municipal bonds tend to follow changes in interest rates in the U.S. Treasury market. And so we watch municipal bond rates improve as we watch those U.S. Treasury rates improve. And it really works out nice that now you're at a point where you're needing some additional funds for construction, and that is matching up perfectly with a rally in the bond market and a push to lower rates. And if we're able to lock in interest rates similar to what we're sharing with you today, then that would put the entire $20 million that you have voter approval to issue for the jail project, locking in a borrowing cost, combined borrowing cost of around 3.7 or 3.75% for 20-year bond issue. So very favorable cost of borrowing, probably better than rates what we had thought when we first started working with you. And again, it's really nice to see the improvement in interest rates matching up with now when you're needing some additional funds to continue on with the project. Joe touched a little bit on the timing of the sale and the action that we would, when you look at the calendar of events and the steps that we would go through, the action that really starts that process is the authorizing resolution. That gives QTAC and Raymond James permission to start pulling everything together for the bond sale. That's the action that's requested of you today if you want to move forward. Then after today, legal documents will be drafted. The bond rating, we'll go through the process of having the bond rating assigned. The prior bond rating was AA-, and the county should be very proud of that rating. To get into the AA category is quite an accomplishment. So we're hoping the outcome of this process will result in a similar rating. And then once we have the legal documents, the rating, the preliminary official statement, and the notice of sale all drafted, then we're in a position to take bids for the purchase of the bonds. And right now, assuming that there's no change in the market or no reason to change the timing, we would receive those bids at 10 a.m. on October 21st. Then shortly after receiving those bids, finalize the debt service schedules, present those to the county commission, and if it's acceptable, you would adopt the bond resolution at your meeting on October 21st. The first step, that authorizing resolution, isn't binding. You're just giving us permission to get started, and we can always stop or delay. the sale. But then, assuming that those interest rates are acceptable, when you adopt that bond resolution, that is more of a binding action that locks in the sale results, locks in the interest rate. And we would then move towards a closing of the issue where the bond certificates would be handed over to the bond underwriter. The underwriter would pay the purchase price to the county and the bond issue would be closed. And right now, we're aiming for that closing to occur on November 19th. So I'll stop there. I know Joe and I would both be happy to answer any questions, but wanted to give you that update on where we're at and the process for completing the sale of the remaining bonds. So thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.
Greg, how quick is that money available to us? You know, if you're gonna take action there in November, is it available to us in December or January?
Yeah, so that, we would lock in the sale on October 21st, and then on that November 19th date, that would actually be the day where you would have money in the bank, funds would be available to you, and early in the morning on November 19th, the underwriter would wire transfer the purchase price to the county, and that usually occurs at around 9 o'clock. And once we then confirm that the bond issue is closed, then that money is in your account and available to use for the project.
I know you can't predict the interest rate or the next 2 or 3 months, the interest rate. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I always like it when I can dodge the question of where interest rate's going to go, but it's a fair question. You know, it's been an interesting year, and it's almost playing out as predicted. When we came into this calendar year, the primary concern for the Federal Reserve and the bond market was inflation, and could we get inflation under control? And the way that the Federal Reserve had been getting inflation under control was by raising the short-term interest rates. And then we started seeing that inflationary data and reports were starting to settle down, and that the Federal Reserve had raised short-term rates so much that the concern on the backside of inflation was, do we push ourselves into a recession as part of that process? And the bond market had expected that once we feel like that inflationary data, you know, is showing that inflation is less of a concern, then we would see the Federal Reserve pivoting to a position of starting to consider lowering rates to make sure that we don't push the economy into a recession. And that's really what has started probably since April, is that the data was starting to show a slowing economy, and the jobs report and some of the purchasing manager indices were starting to show that that was now going to be the primary concern of the Federal Reserve. So we're seeing a lot of information about the Federal Reserve starting to cut interest rates, and the prediction is that they will cut 50 basis points by the end of the year, maybe in 2 separate moves. But keep in mind, the Federal Reserve is controlling short-term rates. And really, we're dealing with long-term rates here on this bond sale. So when you look at the projections from the leading economists of where they think the 10-year Treasury rates will be, they're showing that they'll remain fairly stable over the course of the next about a year and a half. It'll be around that 3.7 mark where we are currently, but you'll see short-term rates coming down quite a bit. Like the prediction on the 2-year Treasury is that it'll decline quite a bit, but longer-term bond rates won't be impacted near as much. So I think, I'm sorry for such a long-winded answer here, but I think where you're going to see the change in interest rate impacting the county is that we probably are not going to see a dramatic change in a long-term borrowing cost on a bond issue like this, but you're going to start to see your short-term investment rates coming down. And you've enjoyed some investment rates probably around 5% for, say, the last year or so, and I think you're going to see some pressure on that as a result of where interest rates may be headed.
Well, the reason I asked the question, we still got in our jail account a little over $13 million, and we got a bill coming in, I know, for about 1.3, so we still got $12 million in our accounts. So we don't need to take immediate action. But then again, if there's not going to be much change, there's nothing wrong with you know, taking immediate action either, so.
Yeah, and so are you suggesting that maybe we start working on the bond sale, keep you updated on where interest rates are at, and if we need to push out that sale date to a later date, that we consider doing so? I mean, if that's the direction from the commission, then clearly we could. But, you know, again, the money that you have available in the account now, is that cash of the county that you're considering, or I was thinking that you were getting close to running out of the bond proceeds from the prior sale?
Well, we're getting close to that, but we have our own 10 million. We still have our own 10 million sitting there.
Yeah, so I think, you know, if you wanted to wait on the sale, we could hold off on the action today, and you could sell the bonds at a later date. You could also take action to adopt the authorizing resolution, and then we could keep you posted on changes on interest rates in the bond market before we get to the point of publishing the notice of sale for that October 21st sale date. And if we want to push that sale date out to a later date, then we could clearly do so as well.
Richard, I thought we spent the county's 10 million first, and then we wanted, we didn't.
No, because theirs, we are limited on the interest they can make.
That's right.
And there's, actually probably 11.9
Left in there.
instead of 13.
We're gonna start seeing a lot bigger tickets coming in now.
Yeah.
We will, won't we?
Well, I think we will too, that's a
The
question.
next
You know,
five
it's
are
up to
large.
1.3 this time, which is the highest one we've had.
Yeah, nearly.
And as more workers show up over there, our monthly bill's gonna be going up, I'm sure.
1.3 in September, probably the same in October, November, there's another 4 or 5 million gone.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I'm thinking, some of these bills are really gonna start picking up as the
I just,
indication.
what do you,
Do it now.
we need to do this sooner as opposed to later.
I think you're gonna see the bond,
Yeah.
the market switch a little bit.
As
I think
soon as the election's over, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I think we
They're
proceed.
gonna, I would guess it go down a hair, like that's what we were anticipating,
Yeah.
and it's gotten there. Do it now.
Don't look a good horse in the mouth.
Do it now.
I agree.
Do it now.
Cause there's
Sounds fine.
probably nothing wrong with at least about, you know, getting started on it, there's probably no question on that.
Move forward, gentlemen.
Proceed.
So for your consideration is, as Greg mentioned, it's a authorizing sale resolution. And again, it just sets out what we discussed today, and with your motion and approval, and your second and approval, you can adopt this resolution, that's before you.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-939, a resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation bonds, series 2024 for Coffee County, Kansas.
So move.
Moved by Huguet, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion?
Is this the right direction for us to go, Richard? You know, you're looking at this for, I can't think of the right words, but well aware of what we're doing, so this is the direction.
We'll need the money in 5 months.
Yeah.
6 months
Yeah,
tops.
'cause the months are gonna start getting bigger.
There's not gonna be any meaningful change
Okay.
in the couple of months we wait.
Any further discussion? It was moved by Huguet, seconded by McCurry. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Joe.
Have a good day.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you.
Sorry, bye-bye.
Okay, we all gotta sign this, don't we? Yes. She's got original wrote on this one.
Okay.
Strong indication.
I don't know if you remember, they were trying to push for us to get this bond stuff going, what was it, April, May?
April, yeah,
And when did you say the highest rates were?
yeah.
Yeah,
that time.
April. Yeah, right, right.
Waiting is good.
Yep.
You'll wanna go ahead and reserve on the agenda at 10 o'clock on October 21st, the bond sale, so it doesn't get taken. And that's in the calendar, but then.
Was that all you had, Wade? For roundtable?
For today, considering they're waiting on probably you guys to.
We've got one more round of checks and vouchers come through.
They'll probably go ahead and start it anyhow. I know a year ago they went ahead and started.
In the I've gone through and.
Now, I'm sure some of the payouts are gonna get bigger as more workers come in.
Like you just had the second floor of concrete put in, so I bet that's gonna be
Wasn't cheap.
Yep.
Yeah, they said that went fine, got a few cracks along some of the steel, but that's to be expected and.
Concrete,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Concrete, correct.
Probably a lot of weight.
5 inches thick could be.
150 pounds per square foot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cubic foot.
That's a lot of weight.
If it's a 6-inch floor, it's 75 pounds per square
Yeah,
foot.
they said it would be a 5-inch floor, and, you know, a yard's only gonna cover 55 feet or so.
There was the first round of.
How'd you know that? McCurdy, you wanna-
Did you make that okay, kids, Wade?
Yep. Helped with, fishing and then helped with food and the entire day, couldn't ask for a better day, weather-wise, temperature-wise, turnout-wise. I think the last 2 or 3 years, one year there was rain, the other year it was blazing hot. This was a picture perfect.
You got one of these two, did you?
Yeah. Yeah. What was there, 101 or 113 or something like that, fish caught? The biggest fish was, catfish, 26.
26 pounds?
Kid about this tall. 26 inches.
Oh.
Yeah, 26 inches. Kid had to be about 3 or 4.
That's a big piece for a little kid.
Yeah.
Was that a channel cat?
Yeah, it was a nice day.
I'm glad I was there instead of watching my football team get smoked by Texas.
Michigan got it.
You weren't supporting them, that's why they got kicked.
Well, that's what Texas.
I kept looking, I mean, Texas is, at least on paper, going into the season, one of the best teams in the country. So either Texas is really good or Michigan is really bad. Time will tell.
First game.
Yeah.
I really thought the Hawks would be better than Memphis did. They joked.
K-State went down to the wire too.
They end up winning?
Yeah.
I'm laughing. Steve, that I didn't even know. I don't follow it, but I have fun harassing you.
I know,
so.
I can take it, buddy.
And they're all Kansas teams,
They
so.
are, they are.
That's good.
They're fun to watch. Well,
We
sometimes.
had a bunch of that old Sooner paraphernalia around my house. It's a challenge, but that's what you get when you go to Oklahoma shopping.
Okay, you come out.
They lost, they look pretty bad. They really did.
I didn't watch any college game.
Somebody trying to come in the side of the building? Barb probably out there beating her head on the wall, on the concrete, on the brick. I don't wanna be here today.
Are they trying to get in to get stuff out for that renovation? They're gonna try to go out a window?
Oh, I don't know. Any idea?
I don't know, they talked about trying to go up the ramp and that way, but I'm not sure what they came up with.
You can go ahead. You please go ahead. Do you know when they're gonna bring the resolution back for the road closings or the minimum road maintenance? Might have to ask Ryan, talk to Ryan
I
about
haven't
that.
heard no more.
Or was he gonna do some work in some, he was gonna do some work in some, in the wording of the resolution to state there wasn't any maintenance change from here forward, it's gonna stay the same. Give them a little fuzzy, warm fuzzy feeling, I think.
Yeah, I think it was looking at the one that
Yeah.
themselves up for.
I think one of them being 3 was gonna be pulled,
Pulled.
and then 14 and 15 were the ones that were gonna be modified, so it would be.
It wasn't gonna be pulled, it was gonna be moved. It was gonna move it back further down the road.
Move it to the south,
Oh, yeah, that's
about a
right.
quarter of a mile.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
half.
And that was the,
Ryan wasn't aware that there was going to be a building, a house built there, a possibility.
okay. Nobody else, nobody has anything?
I'll wait till next week.
You wait till next week? Glad you're back, Tom, hope to see you next week.
Yep, hope to be here.
Glad to have you.
Keep recovering.
Excited to be back.
It was good to see that chair filled.
Yes, yes.
Happy to be in it.
I'm just glad to be alive.
Yeah, I know you are.
Very good, sir.
We'll adjourn at 11:33 to go to our